Hey, everybody, this is Erico. I have been sick for the past 3 days, and now it sounds like I have a natural deep voice. Like I'm trying to do sexy podcasts at night, and that's not my intention at all. But I'm still gonna try to do a video for you guys because I feel a little bit better, but my voice has not come back to normal at all. So it's gonna be kind of funny to watch the playback of this when I have to edit this video. But let's talk about Japanese films and how they have broken so many emotions in Japan and how many people just find pride in the Japanese culture for these films. And it also has caused the influence to go into anime and for many people to enjoy just that overall emotional high that comes from live adaptations of anime and just all these different series that have come out that have caused so many people to just find places in their hearts for these series. So one of the most popular series is Godzilla. And we all know Godzilla. Godzilla is well known around the world. It is a monster that started way back in the old times. He's appeared in Japan, he's appeared in America. He has so many different versions of himself. And many people have started to follow this big dragon looking thing. It's just freaky. It's so freaky. But they announced like months ago that they were going to release a new Godzilla movie. And like his birth of origin is Japan. So the Japanese director, Japanese people decided they were going to do this new movie called Godzilla Minus One. They released a trailer for it, and people were excited because the last time we really got a Godzilla movie outside the American one was Shin Godzilla. That's been a few years ago. And now we get this whole new version of Godzilla. And to see the trailer and see how he is this big thing and it's just like, what? Oh my goodness. And to see the terror in their people's faces and just the time and the era that this Godzilla movie was set in. It was very interesting. It was interesting to me. And I was very interested in watching it and seeing how this overall movie was going to be. So the company that was distributing the film, Toho, said that they were going to release it in America. And I was like, okay, I'm there. And it's funny because when I went to see this movie, it was raining and I was actually sick that day too. But I made sure I caught the train, rode out to a movie theater. It was pouring down raining. Ran into the theater to see this movie. There were delighted fans that were like, are you a Godzilla fan? You a Godzilla fan? People were coming out the theater before the showing I was going into, and they were like, you're gonna love this movie. And I'm not like a huge Godzilla fan. I just really like East Asian cinema, to be honest with you. And I do like Godzilla. I'm not a mega fan. I have experienced, I don't even know if I want to say experienced, the American versions of the Godzilla series. But yeah, I will say that Godzilla Minus One is an experience. And it's so much there as far as emotional layers and history. I've never seen a Godzilla movie where Godzilla wasn't actually needed to carry the storyline, and Godzilla just happened to be there. And also what Godzilla represents as a part of the character's emotions and the atomic bomb and how Japan was in this state of sadness during World War II. It was amazing to see how it was such a mystery behind Godzilla and how he related to the fear of all of the characters and how the characters with this war going on, they also were trying to pick up the pieces and live out their lives and try to come back together as a family unit. And then to have this big dragon, beastly looking thing coming out of the water, destroying stuff, killing people. It was a lot. It was such a roller coaster. And I really enjoyed the movie. I enjoyed the character development. I enjoyed the emotional depth. I enjoyed the mystery behind the -1 title and marker on this film, and how it really represents Japan at that time at their lowest point. And even the director himself, he said that this movie has a lot to do with the Japanese people in that era, and how they were in fear and how they were at their lowest point. And as people, they had to constantly fight and saying, like, we're going to take this into our own hands. Even if we are fighting this big scaly beast thing that is shooting blue blast and go making things go boom like the atomic bomb. It was such a good film. So Godzilla stomped this way into the American box office. It immediately was in top 10. It was number 3. We had Beyonce's Renaissance tour that was also going on. And Renaissance was only playing during the weekend. So this movie went on and it made a couple million, debuting at number 3. And it actually was number 1 for a day. And I was like, I was so happy. I was like, Japan deserves it. They really do. They deserve it. So then that's not all. We have another film by very beloved creator Hayao Miyazaki that came out pretty much right after Godzilla -1. And this one was called The Boy and the Heron. So this was a very anticipated movie just because Hayao Miyazaki is beloved in the anime genre in Japan, all around the world. You know Studio Ghibli, you know a lot of these characters and how they are such a big part of a brand. And for him to be in his early 80s and he trolls everybody saying, I'm gonna retire, I'm done, I'm gonna retire. Comes out with a whole other movie. This is based off of a historical novel. Once again, has to do with a time in Japan where there is the war. So it was interesting. We have 2 films that have to do with this point in time in Japan and how they would go on to rule the box office because The Boy and the Heron debuted at number 1. With the Godzilla movie being right behind it. And it wasn't too shocking to me, considering that Miyazaki has had big debuts in American cinema before. I actually thought that his one film, Spirited Away, I think it was in theaters, but I don't think it had like a wide release. But he's mostly known for Spirited Away because Spirited Away had a whole positive reception. I mean, we had people coming out that were like campaigning for that movie and for that movie to win that Golden Globe like it won. So it was amazing. This film, it may not be for everybody. I think if you're a Miyazaki fan, you will probably like it. Do I think it's his best film? No. Not by a long shot. Do I think that it's a good film? I think that it's a good film. I just don't think that it tops some of his other films like Spirited Away, Howl's Moving Castle, Ponyo. It's a film that follows this historical novel and it follows this boy, but it goes into a fantasy element really fast. It does take the movie a little while to really get to the point. There is inspiration from his other films like Spirited Away, of the main character going to a different world to look for his mother. And as he traverses this world, he runs into all these different things that really represent like his fear and his overall deep emotional turmoil and what he is going through. There's a lot of imagery in this movie. The animation is absolutely beautiful. It is a movie that you would probably be able to watch multiple times. It is a movie that can confuse you. To be honest, if you take any type of drugs to make you high, there's a lot of imagery in this film that will make you be like, I feel like I am high right now. Because it's really just a lot going on. I actually was hearing people in the theater, they were like, what in the hell am I watching? Because there were times where we're just like, okay, is it this? What is this? What am I looking at? What am I? But it's a solid film. It's a film that I would go and watch again. I think that he did a very good job considering his age. The Boy and the Heron actually took more money to make. There was some spark of interest around the English dub because of the cast that they had. Robert Pattinson did an amazing job as the Heron. I know a lot of people went to see the Japanese voice acting. I think you should go see both. Maybe it's an excuse for you to go see the movie multiple times. I went to see the English dub mostly because I do watch anime in English dub a lot of the time. I am not afraid to say that. I really don't care what other people think. He did an amazing job playing the Heron. Didn't even know it was Robert Pattinson. I mean, that's talent. Complete and utter talent. And just the acting, as far as the voice acting across the board, was very well done. Most Studio Ghibli movies, no matter if you're watching the English dub or you're watching the original Japanese voice acting, is very good. I think that it's funny that these movies did well and that there are people in certain comments on certain websites talking about, well, this movie isn't like Barbie's premiere. Well, we know that these movies aren't gonna make what Barbie made. That's Barbie. We talking about what? $1 billion movie at this point? Barbie wasn't even big in Japan. Or really much of East Asia. They weren't here for Barbie at all. I watched about maybe 15 minutes of Barbie and I said I was gonna come back and watch it. I haven't gone back to watch that movie yet. But let these movies have their moment. Barbie has had its moment. Barbie will continue to have her moment because she's definitely one of the biggest money-making movies of this year. But I do think there should be a talk in Hollywood right now about these films that are coming out of South Korea and Japan that are top quality. I don't want there to be Hollywood versus these movies in their countries of origin. I think that that is a waste of time. I've seen comments talking about people saying, well, Hollywood and their woke crap. I don't want to hear nothing about nobody being woke. I do not like that word. Please, and don't use that word to negate certain messages that actually need to be told in stories and in movies. You sound closed-minded and you sound ignorant. Like, I need people to use that word correctly. Because woke could be in Godzilla -1 as well as Boy and the Heron, because there was definitely still a message that was being pushed as far as Japan and how they have a lot of love for themselves and how they persevered through that very important time in their history. So, I mean, I guess that would be woke too. Some people. But yeah, this is amazing. I love both films. I will definitely be getting a copy of both films when they're available in Blu-ray, a physical release. How do you feel about these films? Did you go see these films? I would say definitely go see them. If you can catch one of them in IMAX, go. Because you will have a fantastic time. Follow my social media, mostly my Instagram. Also my blog, New Search Pop Culture. The link is always down in the description box below. And remember, be real, stay real, live in the real. And I will always be back. Oh, my voice sounds so weird. I can't do this. I really can't. Love you guys. Put below how you feel. I'm gonna get my voice back right again.